Welcome to a new episode within the KIPS Podcast, where we're going to be talking about sales as a personal trainer. I have guest Michelle Blakely coming on the podcast in just a bit, where she's going to share insights, tips, and ways to really evolve as a seller within this industry. But there's one thing that I want to talk about before we jump into it. And this is something that we touch on a little bit, and that is finding your own personality, your own mix as a seller. There is a story I want to share. When I was a new personal trainer, probably 18, 19 years old, I worked at a big box gym where there was 35, 40 trainers on staff. Now, these trainers working there, they had big client lists, were already building a career as a personal trainer. Now, when you get in this industry, it's important to understand that sales, very important to your success in this industry. And one of the days I walked up to one of the trainers that was always friendly with me, and I asked her for some advice on selling and closing, ways to hopefully learn something about it, ways that I can improve the process. And what she shared really opened my eyes. First of all, she mentioned how there are different personality types. She pointed out one of the trainers that was a really aggressive seller, a hard seller. And if you've already worked in a gym, you know what I'm talking about. Someone that basically says, you go buy this package, and they immediately go purchase that personal training package. That is the client. Now, this trainer that I was talking to, they were more of a quiet, reserved trainer that really just made it their own way, their own personality of the pitch. She mentioned that she would just present the prices. If you'd like to work with me, here's the ways that you could do it. And the way that process works is that you've already established all your rapport, ways that the session's going to go. You built up the trust already throughout your consultation or the free personal training session that you were giving them, and you've already sold. So presenting the sales price of the session, it's more of just showing them, here is how you purchase your sessions, and if you'd like to work with me, great. Not forcing it on them. Now, these two distinct ways of selling personal training, these are different ends of the spectrum. You need to find your own mix, your own way of selling personal training that you feel comfortable with, and understanding that it is not a used car salesman process. That term, it's used, it's old, it's not really appropriate for personal training. There is sales a part of this industry, and understanding ways to make it yourself is the key. Let's get to the episode with Michelle. Drop a comment on something that's helped you with your sales technique and ways that you have elevated your career in that area. Michelle, to set the stage for this podcast, can you give a brief description of how you got into the fitness industry and what you're doing now?
I was actually a professional modern dancer, and I always loved musculoskeletal anatomy, and I always loved geometry and problem solving. Mm-hmm. And so when I was moving through my dance career, worked in the US for a bit and then abroad and then came back home, I had an injury, and it was actually a personal trainer that helped me. And he was like, you might like this because you don't really make much of a living as a modern dancer in the US. Mm-hmm. So I started studying it, loved it. And then I was off to the races, NSCA, USA weightlifting, some, other various certifications, and started my own business. I won some awards and then received the advice that I should be helping other trainers run their businesses better, because I was really obsessed with doing that as well as possible. So nice. Fast forward 25 years and here I am.
Nice. I like that. And stories like that, I feel like, are ones that really connect to their audience when they're sharing how they got into the industry, but also your why, where you have this piece that it intrigued you from the beginning, that you're like, oh yeah, I want to learn more. I want to dive into it more. I want to help other people. All the pieces start to connect. And I think that's a good little stage setter for what we're going to be talking about with sales for personal trainers out there. It's a such a necessary topic. I know that I said this before we hit the record button, that there needs to be more information out there for personal trainers when it comes to the sales process. I will say it over and over that often I feel like it's very outdated what's taught in an onboarding program, and I hope more programs are being updated. So this podcast, I feel like, will be great for trainers that are looking on YouTube, Spotify for that information when it comes to sales. So first question here, I think it's one that's going to help set the stage, and that has to do with getting comfortable. How do you boost the confidence of a personal trainer to help them just be comfortable with something that is uncomfortable, asking somebody for money, giving that pitch, making sure that they don't feel ashamed that they're going to be pitching somebody on their services?
Yeah. So, right, you want to help people, you want to train people, you want to help your athletes be better, you want to launch your studio, and oh God, if this means I have to, be sleazy to get somebody to pay me so I can keep doing what I want to do, then I don't want to do it, right? Well, first, you don't have to do any of that, right? I'm not that expert. There are experts out there like that. That's all well and good. Yeah. But that's not me, right? So I would say the first thing you need to do to embrace that sales are a part of what you have to do, but you can do it your way and you can do it ethically and sincerely.
Yes.
The first thing I want you to do is list what your services help. So in one of my courses, I have a document that's 100 researched reasons or ways that exercise improves your life. And they're all cited, right? That's not for me. That's so my trainers and studio owners are reminded, oh, wait, I'm not selling them anything false. I really can improve their life. I really can help them get what they want, right? So get back to the good of what you do. Remind yourself of that in whatever way you need to. The second part is some old-fashioned research. So I want you to research all of the studios, gyms, trainers, Group X, athletic whatever it is, sports programs, whatever it is around you, okay, to understand what is out there and what the market will bear. So that's going to help your confidence, because what you're going to do, and you can call me when you find this out, when this happens. What you're going to do is you're going to see, oh, wow, that guy has 30 years of experience and he's charging the same amount as this kind of salesy, shady dude that barely has a certification, right? That has a gym I would never want to work in, right? You're going to see this variation, but hopefully a lot of your research lands you in the place of realizing, oh, wait, I do know what I'm talking about. And people similar to me are charging a rate that makes sense to me, or everybody varies, but I can relate to different qualifications. Or maybe it's not the certification. Maybe it's not the PhD. Maybe it's not the time in the NFL. Maybe it's not, being a professional performer or dancer or whatever. Maybe it's the fact that you really have a high EQ, or you're really gifted at analyzing movement patterns. And so you can help people feel less pain faster. Like whatever your superpower or gifts are, you want to do your homework and research what's out there. Pricing becomes all part of that. Yeah. That can help you in elevating your confidence because you did your homework.
Yeah. Right? This is a great place to start, because I know that is such a common question for trainers out there that are setting their own pricing. They're looking at all these different resource things that are on Google, and they're like, I don't know. Should I be charging more? Do you think it's a trial and error? Should you be adjusting once you say your prices?
When you say, should you be adjusting once you say your prices, meaning if they like react and like are shocked by it, should you bring it back down?
Yeah, both ways. If you think that potentially they are shocked, you feel like, oh, I'm just not hooking anybody and I need experience, or potentially the other way of it. Oh, I think I'm kind of undercharging here. Do you think they should, or should they just write it out for the experience?
Oh my gosh, too much to talk about there with that question. Okay, so in terms of pricing, what I advise is you look at 3, 3, and 3. So you look at 3 independent trainers. If you're an independent trainer, you look at 3 big box facilities or like gyms, and you look at 3 studios. Why? Because your customer might be shopping at all 3. And like I said previously, you look at, okay, well, what are the certifications? What are the onboarding? What's the process? What are the value adds, right? Like, if you're an independent trainer renting by the hour, you're not competing directly with someone that has a pool and 40 Group X classes a week. But that doesn't matter because your buyer is coming to you for personal training, just like they're going to the big box for personal training. So you want to compare the personal training to personal training, right?
Yeah.
So to your question, Tyler, it was how to pivot the pricing. So it's art and science. So that's the science part, right? And you get into these conversations, you try to find out what the pricing is with fellow independent trainers, and you do a lot of listening because understandably, they don't really want to share necessarily what they're charging. But if you listen and if you keep it confidential, some of them will tell you what they're charging. You'll also realize that they're not charging what they think they're charging. So they'll say, oh, I charge $150 an hour. And then you'll listen, you'll be like, okay, how did you land there? Right. And you stop talking and you listen. And then as they keep talking, what comes out is that actually a lot of their people don't pay $150 an hour because they're still they're still selling packages.
Yeah.
And mostly what they're earning is $110 an hour. Right. So you kind of, you learn these things if you listen and you do that homework and that specific pricing research. The other element to pricing is, again, this is covered in one of my courses, but the other element to pricing is how to structure it, right? Recurring billing versus packages versus different value adds you can include versus online training versus virtual training, right? All these things. So that matters. Right? I really think it's art and science. You're doing the research, you're getting some numbers. The art part is, how does it feel to buy something? Right?
Yeah.
Do you know have you heard this, and some of our listeners will give a pause so they can shout it out in their car as they're driving if they want to, right? Who do we buy from? Right? Here's a hint, people we blank, blank, and blank. We buy from people we know, like, and trust. Okay. Yeah. All the snaps to everybody out there that knew it and was yelling in the car. I hear you. Okay. People we know, like, and trust. So in terms of that trust component, we want the buying process to be clear and easy. And simple. We never buy when we're confused. So the art part is, if your pricing is really difficult to say or to understand or to compare, side by side on your page or your buy page or your flyer or whatever it is, they might not buy, right? So that's more the art side of it. Okay.
That's good.
There are lots of other tricks and things that are an important part of a pricing strategy, but I would say it is art and science. You do your homework, you find out what's out there, you know your worth, and then you also go with your gut and make it really easy to buy, really clear to understand.
Yeah. I was laughing to myself when you were mentioning about talking with your peers at a facility and what they're charging, because one of my best friends is a personal trainer, and I can tell you that I have no idea what he charges clients. And I didn't think about it until you mentioned it there. I was like, what does he charge? But I do know that off the top of my head that he has different structures, just how you mentioned, how a client that's maybe been with him from the beginning, or I do know this that has been from the beginning, is getting a much better rate than a newer client, because as you evolve as a personal trainer, your value has increased, your experience has increased, but you still want to give a good deal to your clients that have been with you for a long time. That doesn't mean that you are not increasing their pricing. Have that conversation with them. Let them know this is the why behind it. And if it's still a good value to them, that they will, because they understand that you are making a living at it. But I thought that was such a unique part, because I was like, what does one of my best friends charge his clients? Because I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah. Well, and the way to broach it, because it can be hard, right? All of us are different in terms of talking about money, but many of us have hangups or don't feel comfortable in certain lanes of money discussions.
Yeah.
One of the ways you can broach it is to just directly say, hey, I'm doing research on my pricing. And I know this is, confidential to your business outside of clients. I'm happy to honor keeping it confidential. Would you be willing to share with me what your pricing is, right? You could just be direct with people when you're talking to big box or studios. Yeah, of course, you might get some pushback, but you can also be direct. Hey, I'm just doing some homework. Or depending on your comfort level, you can go into a big box for a tour and just get the information on what it costs, right? Be very clear that the introductory rate or the complimentary consultation or whatever, or that may not be the real rates, right? Because you want clients that are here to stay. So make sure you're comparing apples to apples.
I'm sure somebody listening right now probably thought, can you go back to potentially the conversation with a client that has been with you for a while? Then it's being brought up about, I am planning to increase my rates. How would you recommend that conversation go about? Should it just be at the beginning of a session, middle, and what do you think are some good tips?
So if the scenario is, I'm raising my rates, so everyone new coming in is paying me, let's say $200 an hour, right? Or $900 a month for training, right?
Yeah.
But my existing people are paying $600 because I haven't raised my rates in 3 or 4 months or forever, which happens a lot. I hope there's billing out there. That you can do it a few ways, but one great way is to directly state that all new clients are paying the new rates and have been, right? If it's been going on for a while, but you could just say starting, January 1, our official rates will be XYZ. We are delighted. My favorite way to do this is if you have value adds that can be baked in that weren't there before, right? Now you have access to our library of online 10-minute, recovery videos, or now you can join us for our community events every quarter valued at $100 a visit, kind of thing, right? That's a nice way to shift it. But you tell them directly in written word that these are the new rates. What you choose to do, and we want it written because then they can, see it and process it better. If you decide to raise the rates of your existing members, which I almost always recommend, you tell them when that's going to happen, and you don't do it next week. Like you don't hit people with a $300 rate increase and 1 week's notice that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little planning. You could have given them 2 months or the next quarter or what have you, right? Never, ever, ever talk about it on their training time.
Good tip there.
It's their training time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can schedule yourself on a particular day. So you've got a 15-minute buffer and tell everyone, hey, have a little announcement, want to discuss it with you. If you have 5 minutes after your session,
I like
right?
that.
So you're not running into somebody. You could do that over the course of 2 or 3 days and, make sure you talk to everybody in your book.
Yeah.
But you don't talk about it in session. You don't talk about it on their time when they're paying you to train them.
Good insight there. I can see that being something that completely derails a session there. You're having a great conversation and you throw it in there, and then all of a sudden they're thinking about a price increase the rest of the session, and it just completely derailed it on something that, potentially they're a client that does not like exercise. We always have to remember that clients often do not like exercise, and it's tough for them to get there. And there's other components a part of that. And so making sure that you keep the mood, the atmosphere in a positive way. I think that's a good tip there. Something that I want to move to, I think it's been a very popular topic on the KIPS channel, has been about the consultation. Now, as a new personal trainer that's trying to get reps for the fitness consultation, that they were probably looking at all the components of it. They're looking at the introduction phase of it, where they're getting to know their client when they first walk in, and they're going to potentially take them through a workout, or maybe doing all talking, and then now comes the sales pitch. There's so many pieces of that. How would you recommend a new personal trainer go to that next level when now they are personalizing it for different fitness levels? I think that is kind of that next level thing, because when you do your first certification, you're kind of taught a very general, that's the nicest way to say it, a general way of doing a fitness consultation. But getting to that next level would be being able to tailor it. What are some tips, some insight you have?
So I am more than happy to hear your feedback and disagreement with what I'm about to say. I am okay with that.
I like this. I like where this is going.
Don't let the pink shirt fool you. I'm tough. I'm tough. I think that, so I look at things very differently than a lot of certifying agencies and a lot of, general advice out there and varying advice over the decades I've been in the field. Mm-hmm. I think there, generally speaking, should be a discovery call or a discovery meeting or a brief, like 15-minute consultation.
Yeah.
And I think the next step, there should be a paid assessment.
I like that.
So the specificity part comes in part at the assessment phase, but then truly comes at the program design phase. Some of what you were touching on, Tyler, I think was that, connecting with the person, right?
Yeah.
The reason I recommend this process is time is precious. Our energy is finite. In a 15-minute or 20-minute consultation, whether it's over the phone or over Zoom, or, if you're doing a lot of brick and mortar type work, if it's in person, right, you've got a decent amount of traffic or a tight community geographically, you can see if you're at all remotely a good fit, right? Why waste the whole, and also I have a big problem with assessments, or in the way you were phrasing it, right? A consultation where the person is actually getting a workout.
Yeah.
I have a huge problem with that when you don't know any of the medical history and activity information about that person. Your liability risks are high. I've interviewed all kinds of insurance and liability experts over the years. Your liability is really high. And a lot of times that's taught. So you shame the person into how terribly unfit they are and how much they need you. Right? Yuck. Right? That's like, did you see the movie Long Shot, where his buddy tells him to neg the Secretary of State, who's played by Charlize Theron, I think?
Yeah.
I
just watched I know that
give
one.
her a neg. Like, she's one of the most beautiful women in the world. Like, give her a neg. It's kind of like that strategy for the fitness process, right? Like, shame the person. So then they know they have to buy your services.
Yeah.
It's a strategy, but it's not one I endorse. So that 15, 20 minutes, and you have a really tight agenda, right? You want to understand a little bit about them and why they're there and then share how you can help.
Yeah.
And if you can help, if you're like, oh my God, I love working with athletes that don't have high quality training, or I love working with high performing professional women, or I love working with retirees that used to be, couch potatoes, or, whatever it is. Then you can direct them to a paid assessment. And part of the assessment is you have them complete whatever works for you. Again, of course that does this, but some kind of medical history and activity form.
Yeah.
So when you get to the assessment, you can address, oh, I see that, you're taking this medication and you did your homework because you're a new trainer and you don't have every medication memorized yet. Even the old trainers will admit, we don't have all the medications memorized, right? You can address whatever it is they shared with you. And then you can recommend, take all the baseline measurements. You don't put them through, in my perspective, you don't put them through a hard workout. Maybe you teach them I would always teach the rate of perceived exertion scale. Because for me, that showed me, I've got somebody that'll work at a, super crazy hard and report to me, this is medium. Mm-hmm. Right? Overworking is going to be her problem.
Yeah.
Right? So whatever it is for you, those baseline type things, or some kind of movement, postural assessment, flexibility assessment, whatnot. That is what I recommend in the assessment consultation.
A quick break in this video. If you are needing CEUs, make sure that you head to the link that's in the description, where you can find all our online courses that have pre-approvals with NASM, ISSA, ACE, AFA, NTSF, and with Nesta. We of course offer free content on our YouTube channel, but if you're needing professional ed, with some of you having the full amount to recertify, make sure you head to that link. And now let's get back to the video. I like that. I think for trainers that are working in a big box setting, that potentially they're in an environment where they're just being given a piece of paper, hey, go set up an assessment with this person, and you don't know anything. I think that what you are recommending can really save a lot of time and also set the stage for everything to come. If you are calling this individual and you get pretty quickly some insight that they're not interested in personal training, the benefit in my mind is now that you could kind of get that off their shoulders and now just get a rep. Just get a rep in of training somebody, because if you are new, you probably are trying to fine tune how you are programming, how a session is laid out, because until you start doing it, you don't really know. You don't really know the timing, the pacing of things. And so if that's off your shoulders, and you never know what's going to come at the end of it, this person that might have said at the get-go on your 15, 20-minute exploration call that they were not interested, all of a sudden they do a workout with you, like, oh, wow. That was actually pretty fun. I enjoyed our time. What do you charge? And I think
exactly, when you go into it with, I'm here to learn a little bit about you. Yeah. I'm here to learn what your pain point is, like what brings you in, or why did you want to talk? And then if I can help, if you're really listening to them and they're like, yeah, I can't afford training, I don't want training, okay, great. And you're at like a big box facility, but they're saying, oh, I'm so scared about my knees. I'm so scared about impact. Be like, listen, it's not training. But one of my best friends teaches the, aquatics class, and she's fabulous and it's hilarious, right? Like, let me introduce you to her. Go take that. Right. Yeah. And then it's another person you're saying hi to, you like each other. You sincerely listened. You cared about them. You saw them. Right? You got them some help or got them pointed in the right direction. You don't think that person's going to remember you? And when their brother-in-law needs a personal trainer because he decided to add strength training to his triathlon training and wants to meet with you 4 times a week, she's not going to recommend him to you.
Yep.
Right? Like, that's,
you never know. I thought that was a good little section there. I'm going to move us to our quick hits right here. And these are designed for our listeners to kind of just get sometimes spicy responses. Sometimes we'll see how they go. And with them, you give your initial reaction and we'll take it from there. Okay. So the first one here is the best storytellers make the best sellers.
No. I don't think so. I think being compelling and succinct helps for sure. I'm going to be working on being succinct and compelling for the rest of my life, right? I'm always working on that. Mm-hmm. But just being a storyteller, clients don't want to have to suffer through being your audience.
I like it.
You can end up holding them hostage. I don't like that.
Next one here. Rapport building should be the primary focus during the fitness consultation.
I would say listening and staying curious about the person should be the primary focus during consultation.
I like that. Asking questions, listening, active listening, in my opinion, are probably the biggest things as a personal trainer that transcend personal training in general. That they will take, those kinds of skills will take you far beyond just those types of, that type of work. Next one here, last one here. Assessments are the best way to show a potential client that they need to hire a personal trainer.
No. No, I would say no. That I don't know how it was intended, but that's more of the show them how unfit they are, kind of thing. The best way to show someone that they need to hire a personal trainer is to have them tell you why they even inquired about personal training.
Yeah.
Because they will tell you if you listen, if you ask, if you pay attention, they'll tell you why they're really there.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. I will add some spice into that one. The most basic assessments are maybe a push-up, a squat, a body weight squat. I don't like doing planks. I don't think you get much out of a long plank hold. I don't know what you're going to get as a personal trainer. That's just my opinion on that one. But I think a lot of good trainers just want to see how somebody moves. If you take them through general exercises, things, very common stuff, a low row, maybe you want to go through a couple machines, you're going to get some good feedback just off of that. Just watching them go through some general exercise, you're going to get an idea of how much weight they can do through certain ranges of motion. And you're like, okay, this is a good base for me to work from, to plan off of. Assessments, I know that some certification agencies make a big deal out of them, and I'm going off on an event here, but that is what I'm going to throw into that last one, is that maybe you just want to watch them move. Just take them through a good, fun workout.
Yeah. And I think there are when I was saying listen to them, they'll tell you, right? Some of that is, I don't want to have to be the driver all the time. I'm the driver in every other aspect of my life. I don't want to be the driver in training. I don't really care what my program looks like, right? I just know I'm supposed to be doing this, and I want to hand the wheel over to somebody I trust that is going to take care of me and make sure I get it done, right? Or I need to do something for me, right? Or I'm really scared by these injuries that keep coming up, and I need somebody to sit with me to make sure I stop hurting myself so much, or what I'm doing wrong, or I have the sneaky feeling these workouts I'm doing over here actually probably aren't the right thing for me, right? Like if you listen, you can pay attention to the fact that you're training a whole person, not 100%. Just plugging and chugging what your certifying agency told you, which is valuable, that listen to them for a minute.
You don't have to say that. It's okay. I've had
I don't mean yours. No.
No, not mine. I've had plenty of different representatives from different agencies on the KIPS podcast. All the big hitters have been on the KIPS podcast, and it's okay. I have put them in different questions to see how they answer them, and it's okay. We're going to move now to our podcast takeaways. A lot of great stuff already in this episode. And just how I had prefaced when we were setting this whole episode up, I knew it was going to fly by just because it's something that trainers are going to get something out of it. They're going to get something that hopefully expands their minds past their initial trainings, and hopefully they can look at the process of selling training in a different way. So with the podcast takeaways, it's always kind of adjusted to the episode, to the guest that comes on. The way that I got this question was years ago, I was watching a documentary on Amazon Prime. It was called Iron Cowboy. It was an individual that did 50 Ironman distances in 50 states. And he was asked on Twitter, now called X, what are 3 myths about doing Ironman competition? I think that's what it was. But I was like, let me switch that. Let me take that idea there. Michelle, what are 3 myths about sales as a personal trainer?
You have to be incredibly fit to be great at sales as a personal trainer. You have to be super outgoing.
Yeah.
To be great at sales as a personal trainer, and you have to use pressure to be great at sales. All those are good.
I like the second one that I really like that second one because just recently, had to be in the last 2 months, 3 months. I'm trying to think of when I went to Idea World. Somebody I was talking to that works with college students. This was one of my professors in college, was talking to one of her students, and she mentioned how a student came up to her and said, I don't look like other trainers. What does a trainer look like? What does that even mean? And there is often a picture in somebody's mind of what a trainer looks like, and people are looking for different things. So I really like that you mentioned that one. Michelle, before we sign off here, can you give information for social media, website, how people can get in touch with you?
Sure, absolutely. So if anyone is interested in getting in touch with me, just go on my site and book a call with me. I am not famous. I am not a celebrity. I am not, booked to the hilt with, unavailable hours. I'm a human person that's here to help. Go to my website, cjakeandjanetrain.com, and that's cjakeandjanetrain.com. And there's a banner up at the top, and you can just book a call with me. It's like 15 minutes, and we'll jump on a call, and I'll see what I can do to help.
Awesome. And that information will be in the description wherever you are digesting this episode, whether it's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. Michelle, thank you for coming on the KIPS podcast and really providing insight into a topic, like I keep saying, that's very valuable for all trainers.
Thank you for having me, Tyler. It's a joy.